Alrighty, JDs and Littlemen. So, Killing Floor 3 has finally got a release date since the delay early this year in March. Originally set to release late March, I think it was March 25th, 26th, 27th, somewhere in that range, and now it has been delayed to July 24th, given the teaser on their official Twitter account. I'll just go ahead and show this, making sure it's the official Twitter account here. If this isn't the official Twitter account, I've been bamboozled. However, seems like it is. I'm not like a social media guy. That's the only reason why I'm prefacing that. If this is not official, it is what it is. It seems like every single news outlet has been talking about this. In terms of like gaming news outlet, I'm not talking about like actual headlining news. All right, Killing Floor 3 is not that big yet. Okay, boys, we still have hope, but we finally have an official announce here, July 24th of this year. They should have put the year here. Just saying. All right, hey. Killing Floor, it's okay. Okay, we understand. All right, but next time put the year. Okay, let's be specific here. If we're gonna advertise this, July 2025, July 24th, 2025. Yeah. So we got the official date here. Let me just July 24th officially. I'm not gonna replay this video just because of the flickering lights, and I for one get triggered when I see flickering lights. Just a thing I have. Now. This is very interesting. I've been, if you're a little newer, maybe this is the first time watching one of my videos, I do updates on, like, Killing Floor. I've been following their Killing Floor 3 stuff. I do videos I'm passionate about, so you'll see a variety of content on my channel. But I've been very interested in Killing Floor 3. I, for one, played the beta. I enjoyed a lot of the beta, despite a lot of the issues a lot of people had. I'm not one of these, like, I'm not gonna hands and knees fucking glaze the shit out of this game, alright? But it definitely had problems in the beta, a lot of bugs, issues like that. But I've just been waiting for a horde shooter. Call of Duty has been dead for a little bit for me. It's not the same as it is back in the day. So I'm happy Killing Floor 3 for me felt really good to play. I enjoyed Killing Floor 2, but to be honest with you, I enjoyed the beta of 3 a lot more than I've enjoyed my time playing Killing Floor 2. So I've been keeping up to date with all the updates they're doing. They've updated the HUD, they've updated a bunch of the environments. They've even completely reworked one of the maps. I guess not a complete rework, but a whole vibe tone shift. It was in the broad daylight city streets. It was very clean and polished, and now they've completely changed it towards a more gritty tone, a more Killing Floor vibe, where it's just like blood over the walls. It's, you know, kind of like midnight-ish. It's darker. It's more creepy. Some of the weapons feel a little bit chunkier from the gameplay they showcased a little bit earlier, but this is, you know, we finally have a fucking release date, so I'm happy about that. Yeah, I've been keeping up to date. I'll keep on keeping up to date until release. You know, this year has been stacked for games. I'm happy Killing Floor didn't get into developmental hell. I was really concerned about Killing Floor getting into developmental hell, but it seems like they've been able to fine-tune the things they think will make the game successful on launch. Now, obviously, the elephant in the room, if you're a Killing Floor player, you're probably sitting here like, oh, but they don't have specialists. The game is dog shit. Listen, I don't mind not having specialists tied to characters. That's kind of what the conversation is. And if you're newer to Killing Floor, basically, in Killing Floor 1 and 2, you have classes and you have characters. They're called perks, but for the purposes of this video, so everyone can understand and sort of follow along, I'm just going to call them classes because that's what they are. But yeah, they're called perks in Killing Floor, and normally in Killing Floor 1 and 2, the perk system is, or the class system, I should say, is separate from a character. So you can play whatever character you want. You can play the old army dude. You can play the black army dude, I guess. I'm trying to remember some of the characters. You can play like Bad Santa. You could play like fucking a robot or whatever. And then you can also play your Firebug, which is like the fire sort of AoE class, I guess. You can play like the Demolitionist. You can play all these other different classes while also playing any character you want. Now, I did a pretty big video a little while ago on my review of the beta, and I talked about how I don't really see it as a big issue that the characters are tied towards a class, or sorry, tied with the class. So in Killing Floor 3, when you play the Firebug, when you play like the medic, the like whatever, you will be stuck playing that character. A lot of people don't like this. A lot of people really don't like it. I get why people don't like it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say there's no issues with it. For me, it's not a big issue. I'm used to playing like Borderlands, right? I'm used to playing like Destiny, right? So I'm used to playing a lot of these class shooters that like I'm stuck as that class anyways, and I just got to deal with whatever dialogue my character has. I know like some of these games that I play don't really have dialogue like the Destinies, but I'm just sort of like, I don't mind it, okay? I get where people are coming from. They want to be able to play whatever character. They want to be able to play Foster and a Firebug rather than having to play Devlin, the lady who looks very generic with her Firebug, with her firefighter outfit being a Firebug. Or Nikata the Ninja, being tied to the ninja class. Stuff like that. A lot of people don't like that. They want to be able to play the characters. What I will say is that they have stated, if you don't know, they have stated they are working on a way to implement it so that you can pick whatever character with whatever class. That does kind of get messy because it kind of questions how the specialists are going to work. Because if the classes you play, you can't use a class ability on certain characters. So if you don't know, if you play like Imran the Engineer, he's got like big ass cannons on his back. And then when you're playing the Engineer, he's like, you know, you have that skill where you can use it, and then you can shoot the cannons off your back for like, I think it's like 10 seconds or whatever, and then they go back to your back and whatever. It's going to be really either awkward to see all the other characters have those sort of skills on each other. I don't really know how that's going to work too well. So that's probably why it's taking them so long to really do. But they have stated they are working on that. That is like on their, that's on their whiteboard, okay, at the office, we'll say. So they're working on a way so that they can basically make it so that you can pick whatever character with whatever class, alright? Some people are pissed because everyone sort of was saying that's a bad idea when they announced it, even before, like, the beta was out for Killing Floor 3, even before, you know, there was some big announcements. The community was basically all like, oh, we don't like this thing. From my understanding, I'm a little newer to Killing Floor, admittedly, but from my understanding, everyone said this was a bad idea. Killing Floor said, nah, trust, bro. They released a beta. It seemed like 80 to 90% of people who played were like, yeah, don't really like Specialist System. And they were like, ah, okay, well, we'll go to the drawing board. So I think it's a W that they've, like, admitted that it wasn't the best idea, and now they're going back and fixing it. Because I'm fine if a developer makes a mistake as long as they're willing to admit to the mistake and fix the mistake. I don't mind the system personally, but if that's what 90 to 95% of the community wants, then hey, I'm all for it. I don't mind it, you know? I don't mind playing fucking, Imran, you know, for all the classes. I'm not a huge fan of Foster. Hey, I said it. Alright? But, yeah, I don't mind the systems. It seems like they're working on a lot of these systems. They improved a lot of the AI. If you played the beta, you probably noticed a lot of the AI being brain dead, and sometimes they just stare at you. Seems like from the small 10-second gameplay we've got, it's a little bit smarter. If you don't know, I've done a breakdown of that. Check out my channel. Hit that subscribe button, notification bell. You know, just shameless plug over. But yeah, it seems like they're working on shit. I'm happy about it. I'm happy you finally got a release date. And if you want more Killing Floor news, alright, don't just look at my channel, okay? Even though I might be one of the best in the industry, okay? Full glaze. Yeah, obviously kidding there, but they're having a PAX East, I believe it's called, PAX East, on May 10th, aka tomorrow, after I upload this video, right after I'm done recording it. They're having this PAX East thing, where they're going to showcase, I think, more gameplay. It's like a development, like the working through of them developing Killing Floor 3. So I have no doubt in my mind they're going to have a roadmap. They're going to have gameplay. And now we have a release date before they even showcase that. I was worried we were going to get that developer fucking whole thing without getting a release date. We got a release date. I'm happy. Yeah, I've seen delusions from both sides, okay? There's people who've hated on this game. There's YouTubers that, you know, I've done my research, okay? And they've been like full-on YouTubers for the Killing Floor franchise for a while. They said they're never gonna touch Killing Floor 3 with a fucking 9-foot pole. Alright, they don't want anything to do with Killing Floor 3 because of how far from the formula it is. I, for one, don't mind the changes. Some people call it modern slop. Other people were saying, like, just release the game in its unfinished state and let it cook. That's not really how games work. They probably have a contract with, like... There's a lot of stuff around this game. I'm not going to cover it all in this one video. But if you want to know the lore and everything, you know, with the developers, with the people that own the developers, which is kind of like where the controversy starts, feel free to look at some of the videos I've done. Feel free to look at any sort of Killing Floor content creators' videos. You know, I think, what's his name? I think Pathfinder is the YouTube channel. He does some pretty good research, you know. So... there's a lot of YouTubers in the space that you can look at for the stuff like that. So it's interesting stuff. Yeah, I'm happy we got a release date. I'm going to continue doing update videos, as well as maybe even some other content along the way. I just like doing videos of anything I'm passionate about, you know. But at the end of the day, I want to thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video. And, as always, I hope you have a good day.